So, as a typical working parent, wouldn't you say it looks more like this? You know, we take care of our family, we take care of our work, but we sort of sacrifice ourselves. And I say this not only as a woman, but any parent. I mean, these days, you know, men are into the parenting role just as much as women in many, many cases. And so this is what happens. Well, I have a new circle. This, to me, is a typical entrepreneur mom. Yourself gets totally swallowed up where you don't even have anything outside of work and family. That yourself exists within. And so, you know, I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm saying it just seems to be the way it is. And that's sort of how my life looked for a number of years when our kids were small. I always made time to be with my children and their activities. I will tell you the truth that I feel like I was always there physically. I'm not sure I was always there mentally. I feel like I was distracted. So I'm sitting in a soccer game, you know, thinking about the phone call that, you know, you need to make. And I'm sure my kids recognized that. They're very proud of their mom and, you know, love this whole entrepreneur thing. But I think they would tell you that there have been many times that I wasn't all there with them. And I regret that. And then, of course, my poor husband, well, he just got what was left. You know, after work, kid, you know, it's like if there's any time left, then you've got a little time to your husband. But the truth is, as an entrepreneur, there's really no clear-cut lines between your business life and the rest of your life. Your business is as much a part of who you are, really, as your family. And in fact, to me, my business became my extended family because I love my employees. And you live with the concern that you're adequately taking care of them just like you are your family. So we always managed to sit down to dinner as a family, but I think my kids would tell you our conversations were so boring because my husband's in the same general field, and so we're talking about, you know, curb and gutter dimensions and all of that. So it may not surprise you to know that not one of our 3 children chose engineering as a career. But the good thing about this is our kids grew up feeling very comfortable coming into our office. And I know my daughter, who was younger, she just could not understand why I was constantly saying, you know, leave so-and-so alone, they need to work. She thought they were there to, you know, chat it up with her and be girlfriends or whatever. So what can I leave you with as suggestions? I tried to think of 5. And I would just say that, first of all, when you're trying to think of your idea for your business, always separate your idea thinking from your finance thinking. I think it's all too easy to sort of have an idea and then you start thinking, okay, where am I going to get the money? Where's that going to come from? How am I going to do that? Well, see, that takes a totally different type of thinking, a different part of your mind than your creative mind. So for me, what always worked for me was to dream and have that vision and let myself dream and go just out there, out beyond, you know, crazy stuff. And then, once I had some ideas, then let it stand the test of how is this something that's worth financing. And I will say that while this has been a difficult time economically lately, I have found most of the time that if you truly have a good idea, the money will come from somewhere. Somebody's going to want to invest in that idea. But I'm just saying, I've never been successful at doing both those problem-solving things at the same time. Second, like I said before, put a plan on paper and look at it every once in a while and then update it annually. Have a backup plan for success as well as failure. And then about risk. You need to understand risk and not be afraid of it, but you need to take calculated risk. You need to be very afraid of uncalculated risk, but you need to be willing to take calculated risk. You're never going to be able to make a decision. You'll be too late making decisions if you wait for 100%. Yes, you've got about 80%. If you're about 80% sure, then it's time to probably make that decision and go with it. That's a calculated risk. And then lastly, you need to give an honest assessment of your strengths and weaknesses. And maybe you need to get other people to give you their impression of your strengths and weaknesses, and then bring in partners as necessary. Now, when I say partners, I don't necessarily mean a business partner. I mean a partner. It could be a consultant, it could be an employee, it could be an owner. What you shouldn't do is bring in a partner to give yourself confidence. You know, I see so many people, it's like they're nervous about doing something, so they wouldn't be as nervous if somebody would do it with them. And that's not a good reason to have a partner. It's not going to be any more secure. It's going to give you the illusion of security. And it's having a partner, a business partner, is like getting married. And so in many ways it's harder to get out of than a marriage. So you need to be really sure, have a really good reason why you want to have a partner. And if you see the need, have one. If you don't have one. Well, those are my comments, and I would like to open it up for any of your own comments or observations or any questions you might have for me. And then if we have a minute at the end, I'd like 60 seconds at the end to just make one final comment. So I see a hand back here.
Good morning. My name is Judy Nalco, and I'm the owner of an environmental consulting firm called Mulkey. My question has to do with bridging to the next step. I have a client, finally, who's giving me steady work. It's not the best work, but it's billable work. It's just enough time that I don't really have time to do business development. And I'm almost afraid to do it because then I might get another client and I'm already working. So I'm in that crunch time, and I wonder if you could just talk on that topic.
It is, again, that goes back to the cash flow thing, because in the ideal world, you would just go ahead and hire those people, you know, have them sitting there waiting for the work to come in. But obviously you can't do that because you don't know that you're going to have that income to produce. So that is a very tough thing. And the only thing I can say is, once you get to about that 80% sure thing, you know, maybe it's time to take that leap and add that staff. We are even today, as a company, we always have our eyes looking out for, if this happens, we would hire these people. You know, you always stay very connected to your industry, be in organizations that you know people, be talking and try to have in your mind people who would consider making a change that would fit. And be ready to jump when you can, but that is not an easy thing. I mean, it's got to be, what level of risk are you willing to take? But I will say most women underestimate, and that's all I'll say about that. Is over the years we have underestimated our capabilities, and so the odds are you may be underestimating, you know, the potential that you have. I wish if I had an answer for that, I could make lots of money with books.